So we didn't set the record, but we have a great yield to turn in. And we have another decent yield, but we have a great yield to turn in, better than we've ever done before. But discussing the 3 fields, going through them from worst to best for a yield, the worst was Kinders. And let me preface that statement, I knew that we were taking a risk this year because we were doing things that were so much different than normal. Mm-hmm. They were so much outside the box that I knew something might be a failure. But to try to go higher, we needed to do that. So Kinders, we didn't even turn a yield in on, and obviously, and I believe it was because of the 15-inch corn. We had a little irrigation problem, which was something that I didn't understand. It wasn't the drip system. It was a lack of understanding on my part. One valve was open, another valve wasn't, and I didn't catch it right away in probably a hot part of the year. You actually caught it when you're out there scouting that it looked dry. But even up on the ridge where we were getting good water all the time and we were excited about it, that corn just didn't materialize. Mm-hmm. And the Geringhoff head was fine. It worked great. But sitting in the combine, trying to combine that 15-inch corn, holy cow, it's a jungle. It's hard to stay on the row. If I was going to do more 15-inch corn, I would want to have the auto steer fingers on the head.
Yep.
So yeah, we didn't even turn a yield in there. The 15-inch corn was a great test. Connor and I were obviously so excited about it, but I think we've flipped 180 degrees now, both of us.
Yeah, I think it was just like you said, a unique challenge. I mean, there's portions of that field that we had 2 years on. Mm-hmm. We saw it, we're excited about it through the year, and then when it come harvest time, they're pulled back, and it's a big challenge. So obviously in the hills out here, trying to do it and stuff like that, some things we didn't foresee coming at harvest time, and it's a challenge to come in there and try to spray it or anything else like that. We try to do a lot through the drip and stuff. So yeah, it was a learning experience. See if we'll try it again next year, but
I don't feel like I want to try 15-inch corn again. However, we'll obviously, take a shot at a big yield again next year. Tommy, Kurt Grimm, Jason, they all said they weren't excited about 2 ears like I was. I wanted to try to set 2 ears to try to get higher. Other growers have talked about that, and I felt to get the necessary kernels per plant that we needed to do that. I now don't know that that's true. I think maybe we can make it flex. Mm-hmm. And we learned a lot. On some of the other trials we had in other areas of the farm, the stress mitigation. And, I know those guys weren't excited about 2 ears, and that's fine. But what we learned about stress mitigation, if we could have taken some stress off those plants, maybe we could have held those 2 ears. I feel like we learned a tremendous amount about stress this year. And I think the key to going higher isn't necessarily fertility. I think it is stress mitigation. I've been talking a lot about that. And I think the fact that we aborted all those second ears, or as many as we did, I think that really shows that we need to take the stress off the plant. I think the plants are pretty healthy. Now the Xyway performed beautifully. I would like to incorporate that in a much bigger way on our farm, as you know. But I think taking the stress off the plant, maybe you hold, maybe you don't even have to say you hold the double ears, but you hold more kernels.
Yep.
You don't get the tip back. So, that's Kinders. I hate to use the word failure, but we didn't turn in a yield, so that one really didn't work out at all. And the 15-inch corn, maybe there's still something there. It just wasn't easy to manage that, to get after that and do things like that. They talked about it being hot in the canopy and stuff, and maybe it probably was. The next field is the Bush Place, and there was a time in late June.
Yeah, late June.
Where you and I were very excited. We were counting how many kernels we had per plant. We needed 953 kernels per plant, 75,000 kernels per bushel, which is not a big kernel, to get to like 444 or something like that. And I kind of felt optimistic that we had it. Then we had a week. Here comes stress mitigation again. Then we had a week of 105, 106 degree heat indexes. That bush bottom field is down low next to a creek with trees, not good airflow at all. Hill to the west, hill to the north, and I think it just cooked it. I really do. You know, we had the same number of corn across the field on Sharps, and that dry land nitrogen trial there, as you know, made 315 bushel.
Yep.
The yield we turned in on the bush bottoms was 282. And we thought, I mean, there's well over 100 more bushel of corn out there, don't you think?
Well, yeah, I think to your point of where that thing sits, you know, there was so much humidity too.
Yeah.
That some of the trials we did, we had to wait because there's so much water and leaves, you know, on the leaves of those plants that we couldn't get in there in the time we wanted to.
Killed the respiration.
Yep, and it just suffocated itself almost,
Yes.
really. And that's why when, you know, we got in August, I walked out there and we're like, oh my, what's going on? Because the plant was starting to
It shut down.
assess itself. Yeah, it was shutting down, and we racked our brains over why. We were all nervous about what happened. Do we do something? Well, just, I think, like you said, Mother Nature played its card and
Yeah.
didn't much stress mitigation. Now that we learned it,
Yeah.
maybe we could have mitigated that some, but yeah, that was a little disappointing where we had potential there. I really thought we were on the way to going over 400 easily.
I did too. I thought we had a real shot at 400. I was pretty confident that we would get there. You know, I still didn't know about 442, but when you could see all the second years and you could see all the kernels and things like that, and you're like, we just gotta sustain this. And then here came that heat. You know, in past years, people have talked about it's too rainy and there's not enough sun. Well, this year we had enough sun. Well, then the challenge with enough sun becomes too much heat, too much humidity for us. And we just have to learn how to manage that. And the stress mitigation products that we use this year, I think we need to, you know, there's newer products coming on that we tried and stuff, and I think that'll be a big part of what we do in the future.
Yeah, like, you know, leaves with the Weather King and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, implementing those kind of products to help not have a bad day, I think will be a big deal.
You know, I have made the statement that I don't think we know what a healthy corn plant looks like because we've not seen one. And products that the stress mitigation products we tried this year and the Xyway are the path that we need to go down to find out what a healthy corn plant looks like.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, looking at some of the soil samples we're getting back, our fertility is where we need it at. So
Yeah.
you know, we mean now we just need to manage that fertility with a healthy plant and soil biology.
When I first started with irrigation and I first started in the yield contest, I was always trying to build the soil. And then, you know, then you come along and Jason and Bodie come along. And I remember Bodie saying one time early on when I met him, he said, I'm not so much about trying to build the soil all the time. I want to balance the soil to release the potential. And I thought to myself, that was odd. And I didn't know if I agreed with it, but it was quite a statement. And I now feel like I understand what he means. I at least understand the definition to me what he means. And I think Bodie's right. Balance the soil. You know, we need to keep fertilizing with the crop removal and supplementing the plant foliarly, things like that. But the soil has great potential. We have great fertility, but we need to take the stress off the plant and we need to keep the plant healthy. I know I keep repeating it, but we're really focused on that for next year. And those would have really added bushels because of the hot, humid year we had down there on the bush place.
Well, yeah, I just looking through just the production acres on your farm, and where we probably mitigated that stress, where it was protected by the sun and got a little bit better airflow. I mean, there's dryland corn doing 300.
Yeah.
You know, just all day and every day, and you get in areas where we need a little more stress, a little less water, holding capacity, and the yields aren't there. So yeah, I mean, I'm totally on board with that idea. You know.
Yeah, we didn't set the record, but the education that we received this year, I think we've learned so much. I'm so excited.
Well, yeah, I just look at like Grandma Donna's, where that sits, got probably better airflow, a little more protected because of the mountain across the ditch protects it a little bit. So, And what happened there was pretty exciting too with, 2089. I mean, I never seen years like that. I don't know if you
Holy cow, they look like baseball bats. So Grandma Donna's is going to come in, somewhere 387, 388, which is 30 bushel better than we've ever done, which was my true expectation, was to do better than we've done before. And we did. So I'm so excited, and there's some stress on those plants, if we had had the stress mitigation products there because of the date, we planted that on a Wednesday.
Yep.
And then we had the cold snap on a Saturday, and Kevin Matthews is like, that corn will not reach its potential because of the cold snap. And I'm like, crap, so then I kind of wrote that one off early, and here it turns around and it was our best. What would it have done if we hadn't had that cold snap? But you can say that every year.
Yep.
But we're 30 bushel better than we've ever been, give or take, and it's terrific. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes back to the flex deal of that hybrid and what we did down there. It really opened our eyes to what we need to do going on the road, and is pretty excited about it.
But yet, here's another example of taking the stress off the plant, that cold. If we would have had the products in furrow to help battle that cold, I believe it would have added some bushels. Farming really is like a roller coaster. I was so excited about the 15-inch corn up there on Kiners, so excited about that. I was excited about down there on the bush bottoms and how we were managing that. Grandma Donna's was the first field we planted. The planter wouldn't work.
Yep.
You're laying out there on the seed corn waiting, because we couldn't get the planter to work. Morale was pretty low. Then we plant it. Then it gets cold, and I gave up on it right away. We didn't quit managing it, but I just like in my head, I'm like, well, this will be a dog.
Yep.
And then to go out there in the bush bottoms in late June, early July, and to see the potential there, we were so excited. To see all the second years on Kiners, we're so excited. Then the heat and humidity come in, they suck back in. Grandma Donna's 120-day corn, it finishes strong, and that just really is a microism of how farming goes. You have high days and you have low days, and you just have to manage through it. And you as the grower, producer, can't get too high or too low. You got to keep managing on. You got to know that the tide's going to come and go, and that's just the way it works. And there's days you go home and you're like on a high, and there's days you go home and you're like, shoot, what happened?
It's a battle of perseverance, really.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you got to persevere through all the valleys and peaks, And even the year before, we were all excited, and then one hour it was all gone.
Yeah.
The
derecho.
Yeah. So and then from an agronomist standpoint, you got to help. You go through those. I go through those highs and lows too, because you want to help you do what you're doing, and
you're invested.
Yeah, and you try to figure it out or work through it, but in the end, it's still rewarding. I mean, look what we did, and
right.
Some days you're like, how's that get there? But it's exciting.
Oh yeah, I try to get some satisfaction out of successes, and I try to learn from the mistakes, and just know when the morale is low because something hasn't worked out, try to learn from them and know things will get better. And when you're having a big success, know that it's not going to stay that way forever, that it's going to turn around, and just persevere through all of it and be even keeled. It's like golf. You don't hit many holes in one.
No. And if you're like me, you don't have many good drives.
So the fact of producing the highest yield on Grandma Donna's is kind of special to me. My family started there in 1904. I can't imagine what it looked like in 1904. And my grandpa grew up there, and my mom grew up there. It's the first farm I ever bought from my grandmother. She was so big in agriculture and so supportive of that and excited about it. And it means a lot to me that we produced that there. I wish my grandmother was still here. My grandfather died when I was 9, and my grandmother just died a year or so before that. She hasn't been gone long. I wish that she was here to see it. She would be so excited for what we had accomplished and things. She was such a progressive person that she would be very excited. And so I'm very proud that that we accomplished that yield in that spot.